Let's have a look at this last. Isn't it funny that this came out at about 10 this morning? You know, headline grabber, potentially bumper sticker that means nothing. I mean, look, we could just almost not play this. If these social media platforms already have a minimum 18 years to be a part of it and 14-year-olds are using it, what does the government think it can do? What does the government think it can actually do to stop under 16s using Snapchat? Oh, we told you have to.
There's a second part of this announcement to come, Pat, which is a new youth prison for Snapchatters.
All right, here we go. And that'll be run by David Seymour.
What age is too young for social media? It's a question many parents grapple with, and now National's introduced a bill to ban under 16-year-olds from apps like TikTok and Insta. But the move's not getting support from one of its coalition partners.
Silver Fox called it Insta. It's down. And Insta. Oh.
Abby Wakefield reports.
Abby Wakefield.
I just didn't feel like going out. Just wanted to sit inside.
This young student was 13 when he got access to social media. After 6 months, he became depressed and suicidal. We're protecting his identity so he can share his story.
But all his friends know he's got that skull in his room, so they know who it is immediately. Let me also say this. I think that social media to 12-year-olds is a really bad idea. 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds is a really bad idea. Like, I think social media is like opening up your alcohol cupboard and letting your kids at 14 take a hit. I think it's a really bad idea. I did everything I could to keep my kids pretty much away from social media until they were 16. I think we succeeded on most of them, got close-ish. But the point that I'm making is, how are you going to make this law, Mr. Luxon? And why did you release this bumper sticker headline an hour before bringing out, by the way, women, fuck you? Like, why did this come out the hour before? Were you trying to maybe just, was there a deflection here? Is this squirrel? You know, that's what I'm more wondering about.
It was really scary, I guess, and I noticed that's not what the world is like. It's different on social media.
His mother was shocked to see the content he was being exposed to.
I could not believe it. There's like live killings, accidents, pornography. Being on social media, it does unnaturally spike dopamine levels in the brain, and over time that can lead to like a dopamine deficit state, and that can, you know, that's potentially one of the reasons why we're seeing depression and anxiety in kids.
National's new members' bill would restrict access for under 16s.
I actually think it does need to be discussed and looked at.
They're digital natives, they grew up with this stuff. You can't turn it off overnight.
Whether banning is the solution, I'm on the fence at the moment.
As a dad, I feel very strongly that we need to do a lot more to keep our kids safe from online harm.
Following in the footsteps of Australia.
Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling...
I'm sorry. It's just an adorable accent. Social media is doing harm to our kids. I love it.
Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling time on it.
National's bill is modelled on Australia's legislation. But New Zealand's online safety watchdog NetSafe pointed to challenges with our trans-Tasman neighbours' approach, such as exemptions for messaging apps and gaming platforms. It also called Australia's bill vague regarding how a user's age is verified. As it stands, the legislation proposed by National needs to be drawn out of a ballot to be considered by Parliament.
But I also want to signal that I'm very keen for us to explore picking it up as a broader government bill, making its potential passage into law much faster.
I think this is a conversation we need to have as a country. It should be a government bill.
But others disagree.
Going out and trying to ban a fragment of the internet for a part of the population, the number of unintended consequences and unknowns in that is absolutely stupendous.
This teen wishes the ban was in place when he was younger.
Because it would be the pressure of all my friends.
With a chance now that pressure will be alleviated for others. Abby Wakefield, One News.
I mean, as I said, I was pretty clear. I think that social media is incredibly harmful. I've played a few times here on this show a clip of a guy talking about millennials in the workplace, and he says that the dopamine that they're talking about is the same dopamine that people get when they're, jumping off buildings, bungee jumping, getting drunk, partying. It's an addiction type thing. So absolutely, I think it's a problem. But I do not trust that this government has good intentions in what they're going to do. And I will question again, how do you actually put it in place? How do you stop that 15-year-old from getting it? I mean, what should be happening at the moment is now, if it's a problem like within schools, most of the kids are getting on Wi-Fi at school still, so you can block them all at the Wi-Fi end, right? Not as many kids have like massive data plans. It's becoming more regular now. Sure, you can probably speak to that better than me, but still, mostly the kids that I know, my kids and their friends are look. That's why when they come into my house, they all say, "What's the password to the Wi-Fi?" Because that's how they roll still as a majority. So you can put things in place to hamper it, like blocking them at the router and stuff. But I just don't. When we're talking about things like getting women paid less money, the cost of living crisis, what's happening in our health system, senior doctors going on strike, trying to take away rights to vulnerable communities, not paying the disability community as much as we used to. And they're talking about this now. I just don't buy it, Chewie. I think it's a distraction, and it's not, and it won't work.
It's a distraction on several levels. This is a members' bill. Like it's gone into the biscuit tin. It might get pulled, it might not. So why is this being given the level of headlines that it has done today, as if it was the government submitting this bill as a proper government bill?
Because it was an hour before the other one.
Yeah. So it's a bullshit distraction.
Yeah.
The problem that they are trying to solve is too big for them to solve.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have the ability to enforce a way to ban kids from social media. They can go to Facebook, and Facebook can go, yeah, sure, maybe we'll put another box out there that says they have to be this old to do it. They can fake their age, whatever, just like kids have always been doing. Won't solve the problem. They can come down with, they can ask the internet providers to put a gate up there, and the internet providers will go, we don't want to do that. It's too hard. Can't implement it. Sorry, can't help you. They can come down and with punishments somehow. Again, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm not going to argue that social media is potentially bad for kids, because it objectively is. Like, when I was a kid, bullying would stop at the school gate.
Right.
Now it goes right into the kids' bedrooms. That's terrifying.
Yeah. But can I add something? But this is an important but, I think. And it might sound a bit judgy, but after it leaves the school gate, parents do have a responsibility to play. Kids with phones in their bed, kids with phones in their bedrooms overnight, parents, you have a part to play in that. Kids getting bullied in their bedrooms because they've got their phones or their laptops in there. Parents, you have a part to play in that. Like I'm not judging, and I'm not trying to say, oh, look at us. We long had our router set up that would shut down the internet to laptops and phones at a certain time. We long had no phones in bedrooms after dark, and I think it is possible. And I just wonder sometimes. I'm not saying parents have all. I'm not doing like it's the parents' responsibility, but
no. But
one step back from that is parents do have a job to play in here, because after they leave the school gate, when they get home and they're in the parents' vicinity again, you have a role to play there to either help or hurt the situation.
Yeah, no, and I 100%, as someone that deals in this area quite a lot, I 100% agree. Like, I see parents getting their kids their first phone or their first cell phone plan and that sort of thing, and it is a conversation that I try and have. Right, it's outside of the boundaries of my job, but it is something that is like, look, sit down with your kid and actually have a conversation about this, put some rules in it, that sort of thing. You are giving them a pipeline to the entire internet. Yep. Like, parents didn't have to deal with this, so they don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah,
they might not be tech savvy enough to put a ring fence around it.
But listen,
And-
it's not hard.
And when we talk
And
about our government,
you can contact your provider, and your provider will talk you through how to put restrictions, like Jeremy saying here, broadband connection cuts off my devices at midnight. So there's things you can put in place. So if you're in that position, like, how do I do that? Contact your provider, and they'll have help desk that'll be able to talk you through setting up your router if that's something you want to do.
but this is an aspect of our lawmakers and legislators and that sort of thing. When you look at their average ages and go, okay, so the problem is that this didn't exist when you were a kid. You're not across the technical solutions for this either. So what do you do? Do you register everybody in New Zealand? Do you put out some sort of, you've got to sign into the internet with your government ID? Like, all of this is stupid, right? But that is literally the only way that I could think that you do it, is that you issue everybody an internet license with your age on it. And if they did that, fringe benefit, we cut the boomers off at the same time, because Jesus Christ, those motherfuckers will click on anything. I've just installed 52 viruses onto my phone and have given away my credit card for the 4th month in a row. Let's cut them off as well. Let's cut David Seymour off. That's good for the kids.
They said they were
Same
going to
with
send me
Fisher.
$1 million if I helped them. Why would they lie?
I was buying a Bitcoin. Yeah. Like, it's not the kids alone that are under the threat of the internet. This is
true.
the whole thing. Like, who knows what Judith Collins is reading, as an example? Like, she needs a helper beside her when she's on the internet. You know, I've talked about this before with some of our older politicians. Like, they should have to pass a yearly test of opening a PDF on their phone before they're allowed to have an opinion on anything tech related. But yes, I think it's a bullshit distraction. Pat thinks it's a bullshit distraction. Motion carried, it's a bullshit distraction.